office were already very easy to deal with, but the app has made things even easier.
Hey, Minnesota sports fans. This is your local State Farm agent, Tony Hoaglund. I need you all to ask yourselves this question. If you're in an at-fault car accident and you are sued for $700,000, how much of that $700,000 will my current insurance company pay? If you are unsure or can't answer all $700,000, you need to give us a call. State Farm has been number one in car insurance since World War II and number one in homeowners insurance since 1964. For a no-obligation review of your current policies, call us at 763-421-4900 or check out our website at www.champlininsurance.com.
So we're sitting in the media room, and there's Case Keenum coming on doing an interview. I was just thinking it's going to be a really fascinating year because of all the quarterback dominoes. We're going to be watching Kirk Cousins. Yep. We're going to be watching Alex Smith take Kirk Cousins' place in Washington and comparing him. We're going to be watching Teddy try to fight for playing time in New York. We're going to be watching Keenum playing in Denver. It's like we already have fantasy football and the standings, all these other reasons to watch multiple NFL games every Sunday. Now there are going to be even more reasons to watch.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, for Keenum, the interesting part with him is he's going into a situation where he's the expected guy, and that hasn't happened for him in the past. Now, all the underdog role, the chip on the shoulder, all that stuff that guys like him often talk about motivating him, he doesn't have that. He's got the pressure of being the guy. So can he stand up to that? In Bridgewater's case, I found it really interesting that the Jets decided to trade Christian Hackenberg. And now all of a sudden I go from thinking, Bridgewater might be cut at the beginning of the year or before the year starts to, I wonder if he's going to be a game day active guy. Is he going to be the starter? Is it going to be McCown starting? So they've got a lot of interesting things going on there where, now I think Bridgewater might have a shot if his knee is as good as they say it is. And that's what you never know. I mean, at this time of year, he's testing it with some quarterback movements, but not the unexpected sudden movements that I think are most likely to cause a reoccurrence of injury in that knee.
I just really wish we knew what the Jets were thinking, whether they're hoping that somebody else had a quarterback shortage and they could trade somebody to them. I mean, they traded Hackenberg, but they got very little for it.
Seventh rounder.
You wonder if they were just hoping to kind of corner that market on tradable quarterbacks, or they're just throwing stuff against the wall.
To me, the way that the Bridgewater contract was structured, it was a total insurance policy before the draft in case they didn't get one of the guys that they wanted in the draft. So now they've kind of set themselves up where they've got some time to develop the younger guys, and they have their fallback option of McCown and Bridgewater.
John DeFilippo.
He is the new flip in town.
Yeah.
That one's hard for me because
DeFilippo.
Yeah.
I'm just struggling with it. Seems like a good guy. Seems like he's very, and talking to some Viking people behind the scenes, they say that he can talk, and it'll be interesting to see him in this role where Zimmer is obviously the alpha coach, and see just how free he is with information and his words.
I think he'll be tampered down pretty good. It seems to happen that way around here that. Zimmer, well, not only Zimmer, but Rick Spielman, both of them want as little information out there, especially when it comes to injuries and strategy and anything like that most people find interesting about the team. They don't want you to know about it. So, I think he'll still be very pleasant, very cordial, and a talker, but probably isn't going to offer up a whole lot of great interest to you.
No, but he does seem like a very personable guy. It'll probably be nice to have him around. The kicker battle, as Zimmer was saying, that you can't overreact to anything that happens this time of the year. You got to see, you want to see how they do in front of 65,000 people, et cetera, et cetera. Do you think their mind's made up, though?
I think as long as Daniel Carlson does not pee down his leg.
Yep.
That's going to be his job. And I will say this. Okay, so if you're just looking at the flight of the ball, the angle of the ball, Forbath looked more consistent today than Carlson. However, I didn't see Carlson miss any field goals. I saw Forbath miss one. and I saw Carlson hit a fairly long field goal as well. So to me, that says, okay, yes, he's got the stronger leg, and he probably is okay with handling the pressure of a competition with Forbath. But there's probably some inconsistencies there that cause the ball to kind of come out at an angle on some kicks, where other kicks it's kind of the straight up and down where you don't think you're going to get that big hook. But yeah, as long as he is hitting, say, 80% of his field goals in practices and preseason, I think he's going to be their guy.
I agree with you.
I just find it really hard to believe that you go and you draft a guy in the 5th round, the highest the Vikings have ever drafted a kicker before, and then you end up cutting him because they're not going to keep 2 kickers. It's not, there was a time that there was consideration for, we've got a really strong-legged kicker that can help us on kickoff. It doesn't matter. The way the kickoff rules are changing now, it's really limited what a kicker can do on that play. So, yeah, as long as he doesn't completely screw things up in this offseason, or more importantly, the preseason, yeah, I just think it's his. I talked to Forbath for a little bit today, and he said, "Well, I've never lost a competition with another kicker, but I've also always been the younger guy too." Mm-hmm. And so it's a different feeling for him, and there's just no way that he couldn't have felt like, okay, this could be the end when they drafted Carlson.
Absolutely. I agree with you completely. Can you explain the new kickoff rules that are being discussed by the NFL?
I haven't had enough of a chance because they really, I think they got kind of finalized as we were out at practice, so I haven't had a chance to go through it all. My understanding is basically you have to have 5 guys on each side of the kicker, that they can no longer have that 5-yard run-up on kickoffs. Mm-hmm. And beyond that, I don't know a whole lot. But the fact that if you have to have 5 guys on each side of the kicker, boy, those onside kicks are going to be awfully tough to recover at the end of games in desperation situations. Or even the element of surprise, I think, can be minimized by the way they're doing that. So those are the 2 things that really stood out with me.
Absolutely. Do want to remind everybody, all the shows are at talknorth.com. You subscribe at iTunes, subscribe at your favorite podcast app. The best way to listen is to download the shows, if you can do that. And again, we've got about 10 shows going now. We have all your favorite sports. We have a cool business show. We have preps. We have the WNBA. Whatever you like to listen to, we have something for you. Give me your final thoughts on the team, the league, what's going on right now.
Well, with the league, the whole national anthem debate, I think, is a little intriguing, and just I'm kind of tired of it at the same time. And I completely blame the owners on this one. They have made this an issue when they didn't necessarily need to. If they would have said, okay, Colin Kaepernick, Justin Reed, go ahead, take your knee, and we're just not going to make a big deal about it.
Right.
This is your opportunity. If you want to point out something, some social injustice, whatever cause you have, you know what? People can agree or disagree with you on that issue, but it doesn't have to be about the team as a whole. It doesn't have to be about the league as a whole. And honestly, I think the owners have been baited by Donald Trump and all of his tweets.
It's so true.
They have just...
They're afraid. And here's the bad thing about it. They're trying to make it out to be a patriotic issue. And right. As soon as you say patriotism or the flag, a certain percentage of the country and a certain percentage of NFL athletes go, oh, yeah, I'm pro-America, therefore I must... This isn't about patriotism. These people are afraid of Donald Trump, and they're afraid of the angry white fans who don't want to see black athletes protest.
I think they're even more afraid of another color, green, and losing the money that comes along with fans that I'm not sure all of the fans understand what it is the players have tried to protest. And that's partly on the players and it's partly on the fans. But when these taking a knee during the national anthem, it happens at the same time as ratings start to decline, whether those are related or not, I don't know for sure. Some people want to make that correlation, but I just don't think that it needed to be made this big of a deal. People talk about the NBA and how it allows players more freedom of expression, and yet when it comes time to do the national anthem, they're all out on the court. Nobody's kneeling at NBA games. So I think if the NFL, if the owners would have been more proactive behind the scenes when it came to, we can support your causes, we can make people aware of social injustices that you want to point out, but let's not do it in a way that's going to be misinterpreted as you hate the country.
That's such a good way to put it, because I've been reading about this, thinking about this issue for so long, and to the point of exhaustion. You know, and that's. I remember. I think I wrote that at some point last year. Is that wherever you stand on this, and however you feel about standing or kneeling during the national anthem, this just could have been handled so much more intelligently.
Yeah, to me, it's 90% of the blame I put on the owners for not taking care of this in a better way, or just explaining to the public that this player, they want to point out this issue or that issue. But why not have the player get up in front of the cameras then, explain the issue, and say, this has nothing to do with I hate the military, because I don't know any player that hates the military or any player that doesn't want to be in this country. They just want to improve some things that they see that are wrong with the country. And so I really I put it on the owners and the league in general. And, you say what you want about Trump, but he has just needled these owners, and they have reacted every time in which they could have just kind of ignored a tweet from him and said, we will do our business our way, you run the country. And instead, they've made it a bigger deal than it needs to be.
Well, Tim, thanks for taking on that issue. Like I said, I've gotten to the point where I almost have exhaustion over it, but every point you made is absolutely right on. Thanks again to everybody who listens to this program or listens to the network. You can find all the shows at talknorth.com. We'll be back next week with another update, probably from the massive See It From Space facility in Eagan.